Hello everyone, welcome back to Python tutorials by Code Warriors. In the previous videos, we have discussed about data types and what are data types, how to use them, what are their significance. But we have been using this one word named variable a lot in previous two videos of ours. Here is a variable. You must be wondering what are variables? What is it? What is it? This Costovich keep on saying variables, variables. What is this? So let me show you. Today in this video, we will talk about variables, what are their uses, why we use it, what are its advantages. We will all cover in this video. So let's get on without wasting any more time. Variables. As you can see, it reserve memory location to store values. Now variables are just like a storage space where we can store the values of different types. Like in data types we have discussed, there are 8 data types we have talked about, like integers, floats, strings, lists. Now every data type has its own kind of values. Like in integers you can put floating values, like in the string you can put integers. In the same way, these variables are the reserved memory locations. They reserve a memory space for every data type so that they can store the values in there. Now you can think variables as labels with name on it attached to values. Now yes, variables can you can think of it like that. That variables are just labels in which you have given a name, that is variable name, and they are attached to some kind of a value in it. Like if we say suppose x is equal to 10, then x is a variable which is attached to 10. Means x is storing the value 10 inside of it. Now, the biggest the use case of this variable is that if you write a one variable, like suppose there is one number, 1,000. Now you want to use that number in lots of places in the program. Now everywhere you have to write 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Now while you are testing, like if you go to a high level, while you're testing your programs, you keep on changing the values, you keep on working on values to find a better result. So you might put now in the beginning you were working with a value 1,000. Now you want to work with a value 2,000. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna change everywhere 1,000 percent. You're gonna rewrite those places 2,000. So to avoid these kind of stuff, to make the program understandable, to understand what is 1,000 over there, we have given the word variable. We have came up with a thing variable. Now what variable does? Once you store a value in variable, now at every place you have to use that variable. And if you want to change the value, then all you have to do is only change it at where you have defined the variable, and the value will be changed in the whole program. As now, right, in the earlier variable was containing the value 1,000, but now it is containing the value 2,000. So then the whole program, the values will be changed. Then it says in Python, variables do not need explicit declaration. Like in most of the language we have seen, like Java, C, like you have to declare variables. Like if in like in C language if we talk about, we have to declare it like int x, like defining that x is only an integer. Now we can't put a value of floating point in there, like a decimal value. We can't put a decimal value in there. Even if we put a decimal value, it will immediately convert it into an integer. It will not accept any floating value there. If you enter like int x is equal to 27.45, then ultimately x is equal to 27 will be stored. 0.45 it will remove it. But in Python, you don't have to do any of this stuff. Directly you have to write x is equal to 27 or 27.45, whatever you will give it, it will immediately accept it as it is. Then assigning variables make coding easy. As I said, that while debugging the code, while testing, instead of changing the values at every stage, all you have to do is assign one variable, and all you have to do is change the value at that variable. In the whole program, your values will be changed. So it makes our coding a lot easier while debugging or while testing. It becomes a lot easier. Then in Python, we can do multiple assignments simultaneously. Yeah, that's one of the great features of Python. Like in most of the languages we use, like if there are three variables and we have to assign same value to all those three variables. We have to write separately like x is equal to 5, y is equal to 5, z is equal to 5. We have to write separately. But in Python, this great feature. We can write it like this: x is equal to 5 sorry, x is equal to y is equal to z is equal to 5. All of the three variables got the same value. We can write it in another way also. I will show you it in Spider ID. I will give you each and every practical on Spider ID, each and every case. Just be with me right now. We can use it one more way, like we write it x comma y comma z is equal to 5. Then 5 value will assign in all those three variables. Okay, the rules for assigning a variable. Variable name cannot start with numbers. So there's one very simple thing. It is applied in all programming languages, that you can't start a variable name with a number. Like if you want to declare a variable x, then you can't write 1x. You can write x1, but you can't write 1x. Then there is second rule. There is no spaces in variables name. We use underscore instead. Yes, we don't use space in variables name. Otherwise, that become two different words, and Python language confuses what is what. So we don't use the spaces. And instead, if we want to show a space, if we want to declare like two words, they are there like your income. So you can write it like your underscore income. You can write your space income. Now in this, Python will confuse what is income, which one of them is variable. So it will give a syntax error over there. Then there is variable name only consists of alphanumeric characters a to small z 0 to 9 or underscore. Yes, variable name consists of only capital A to capital Z and small is small z, and then numbers 0 to 9. And as I said, numbers can come at any place, but at the starting point. They don't never come at the starting point. And if we talk about underscore, underscore can come at any place, either in the starting or in the end or in the middle. It doesn't matter. Then variables names are case sensitive. Example: capital name, small name, and capital NA, capital ME, or complete capital name. Now all these four variables, if we declare these four variables, they are all different variables. Now if you have suppose declared small NAME, and if somewhere you are using capital NAME, then it will say I don't know what N capital NAME is, because you haven't declared it in anywhere or you haven't assigned any value to it. So it will start showing the error. So they are all case sensitive. If you are using a small NAME, then you have to use small only. If you are using capital, then use capital. Okay, so let's get on to our Spider ID and you see all of these things in our practical. Okay, so let's start on ID. So let's see some practicals. About we have spent 2 videos on it right now. We've studied lots of theory. Now let's apply them on our editor. So first thing that we learned while starting the Python was data types. So now let's do a practical on data types. What are data types? How are we using them? What are we talking about? What are their types? And then we talk about variables. So let's apply everything over here, right? So let's say if I write x is equal to 10, okay, and then I say print type x. Now x is equal to 10. If I run this program by pressing F9, you see here in the IPython console it says x is equal to 10, and in the variable section it is giving name x, type integer, size 1, and its value is 10. As you can see, we have run one line code only right now. X is equal to 10, and so what we get from here, that x here is a variable that is storing the value 10. As I said, they are like variables are like labels which are attached to their values. The same way, x are labels and the 10 is the value. Now if we run this print type x and press F9 again, you see here it says class int in the output screen of IPython console. It says class int, means it says it has a data type of int type. Now if we write again x is equal to 20.7, And again, um, let's write it again. Print type x. Now if we run these both lines, F9. So you say in variable explorer, now the value of x becomes 20.7 and its type becomes float. As you see, there is a decimal number in there, decimal point over there. So it is a floating number and it says it has a type float. And here in the output screen of IPython console, it says class, it has a float type. Now you see, as I told you about dynamically typed. Now you see here I have assigned x as an integer. When I was running this line, now see it says it is an integer. X is an integer. But when I'm running this line, um, I'm running this line and it says x is a float. I can change my data type at any moment. I don't have to be fixated with one bit. Like if I have assigned x as an integer, now it can become a float. This is happening in all other languages like Java, C. Like if you have assigned it, they are like in that we write like this: int x is equal to 10. Now, but in Python, this is as if you see here crosshair, that means it says invalid syntax. Now, if you see, now this is an invalid syntax for Python. But if you write like this in Java or C, C++, then it is a valid syntax for that. Now, this is the difference here. We can dynamically type, we can change our data type any time. Now, there is one more thing. If we write int x is equal to 10, although it is a syntax, it is a syntax error in Python. I'm talking about other programming languages right now. And then we say uh, x is equal to 10 divided by 3. Now the value that x will get in the end will be only 3, sorry. X will get only 3 because x was an integer, and when 10 is divided by 3, it becomes 3.33333. But x was an integer, so it will not take the values after decimal, and it will only take value 3 and will give the value 3. But in the Python case, this doesn't happen. If you have write x is equal to 10 and x is equal to 10 divided by 3. Okay, so print x. Now if we run these three lines F9, you see I have defined x as an integer in the beginning. If we run first line of code F9, you see here x becomes an integer of value 10. Now if we run rest of the lines, only okay, first we'll run up to here only. Okay, F9. Now you see here it says now x become a float and it has a complete value of 3.333335. Now if we run the last line, it will print the output. Whatever. Print x F9 and our output is 3.333. Now there's one good thing in this spider ID, like we didn't have to run this print x. We are already this in the variable express. We are getting the value of x is 3.33333 and so on. We are already getting that value. So this is the one good thing in spider ID, where we don't have to write print x every time. Okay, so this is about data types. You've seen. Now if we write x is equal to say cost of my name and we run it F9, we see here x becomes a string and it has a value cost. Now here right now we are using double quotes. Now we can use also single quotes cost, and if we run it F9, it is still a string. Either we use the double quotes or we use a single quotes, it is always a string. In string we can use both kind of ways we can use. Then we talked about lists. Now if we say about list is like how we write list. We write list in inside double brackets, and Like now, if there's a number, then it will be simply written. If it's a character or a string, then write like this. Now, if we run it, F9. Now you see, X is a list of size 2 as there are two values in it and 10 and cost. Both values are here. It shows this is a list. The same way we can check for all kinds of data types. Rest is on you. Check it, find it. If you find any kind of problem in there, just go into comment section, comment it, and we will help you ASAP. Okay. Practical on the dictionaries, tuples, and sets. Test on them. If you find any kind of a problem in there, just comment below. We will reply you ASAP. Okay, so let's move on. Then we talked about the rules in the Python, like we can put numbers in the variable, in the numbers in the starting of the variable name. Like we've given this x as a list right now. Now let's say 1x is equal to 20. Now you can directly see here it's saying an invalid syntax. This is the wrong syntax. Still we run it. Let's run it. Now here it's a invalid syntax. Okay, so but at the same time, if we write x1 is equal to 20, now run it, F9, you see another variable came here, x1 integer, and it is 20. We can write number anywhere except in the starting point. And then again we talk about underscore. If we say x underscore 1 equals to 20, again F9, and wait a minute, here it will come. Okay, there's some kind of an issue over here. It is not showing it. I have to check it back. Okay, I will tell you later on. I will see what's going on. Let's not waste any further time. But if to check it, just type print and x underscore 1 and run it, F9, and in the output screen you can say its value is 20. Somehow it is not showing in this variable explorer screen. I have to check it. It must be a bug or something. Don't bother about it. Now, I told you, we can use underscore in the starting too. X is equal to 30. Now, let's see this one. Okay, it is also not showing on this variable explorer screen. But if you run it right, print underscore x F9, and it's giving the value of. That means the syntax is correct. Don't bother about this. It must be some kind of a bug in it now, as this is the latest version of Spider. There must be something going on with it. Don't bother about it. Okay, let's move. Next thing we talk about multiple assignments. Like if we are writing x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, z is equal to 30. Now we are using a 3 lines code to write all this. Instead of that, we can do is write x comma y comma z is equal to 10 comma 20 comma 30, and see, let's see, F9. You see, x becomes 10, y becomes 20, z becomes 30, and it runs just fine in one line. Whole code completed. Just remember, this is a very useful thing. It simplifies our code. And then suppose we want to give the same value to x, y, and z. The same value. Like we want to give all these three values 40. We want to say x is also 40, y is also 40, z is also 40. So how are we gonna do this? X comma y comma z equals to 40. That's it. F9. Oh, 8-1. Oh, we don't use comma here. We use equals sign. Right. So what it says, x is equal to y is equal to z is equal to 40. Now if we run it, yes, I just F9, and you see all these three becomes 40. Okay, so next thing, now let's work on strings a little bit. We have seen lots of integers and floating point numbers over here. Whatever the things we can do with the integers, we can do the same with the what do you say, floating point numbers. Like if we say 10.2 over here and 5 over there, 10.2 over there, 20.3, sorry, 3.30 like this. And if we run this line, F9, see, X got an floating point number, Y got an integer, Z got an floating point number. As you can see. Same things we can do over here. Now let's talk about strings. Now working on strings is a really interesting thing. Now you'll see. Let's say, as I declared here, X is equal to cos 2. Let's say X is equal to cos 2. We have to declare strings inside of double inverted commas. So X is equal to AUSDUPH. That's fine. Okay, X is equal to cos 2. Now, if we wanna print it, so it's not simple. Just print X. But if you wanna add anything to this, this is a one string. If you wanna add something to this string, how are we gonna do this? We can do a number of ways. We can just directly write y is equal to, suppose we wanna add is awesome. Okay. Now we wanna add it with a x. So what do you do? X plus is, okay, awesome. Now if we run this line, F9, okay, actually we have fun run this line right now. X is equal to cos 2. First run this line. Now cos 2 becomes a string. No, okay, one thing. It's a great thing that we got that error. We ran this line earlier, right? F9, we ran this line. And it was a floating point number. Okay, 10.2. It says a floating point number 10.2. X is a floating number. Now what we did here was we said y is equal to x plus a string is awesome. Now x was a floating point number, is awesome was a string. Now you see, when I ran this line of code, it gave me a good error. Unsupported operand types plus for float and string. Now this is accidentally we got a good thing which came here. We can't add a string with any other integer or floating line number or list, anything. We can't add a string to any other thing other than a string. This is called concatenating, and concatenating happens only between two strings. That's why it gives an error that it's an unsupported operand type. Now if we run this line, x is equal to cos 2 and press F9, and then we run this line, F9. Now you see it run fine and it says cos 2 is awesome, although there was no space. So let's give a space. Now we run this line, it says cos 2 is awesome. Obviously it's okay. So we can print the same line, F9. Okay, it's printing right now, print x. If we print y, so it will say cos 2 is awesome. This is called concatenation of two strings. Now one string was saved inside cos 2. We are using the tag. We can write it in this way too. We want to write y is equal to cos 2, then plus, and then is awesome, and run it again. F9, cos 2 is awesome. It ran perfectly fine, and cos 2 is awesome. It shows here. Okay, so okay, next, so what we can see, yeah, we can do the same thing with a print section also. Like here we write print y, right? We can write it like this. Just say, okay, wait a minute. We can write double inverted commas, hello, and then we write a plus and y. Now we run this one. Let's see what happens. F9. Hello, cos 2 is awesome. It added hello to this string now, y. Now if we write here x and run it and see hello cos 2. Okay, so this is some basic thing about strings. Now there are few functions that are applied inside the strings. Like I said, x is equal to cos 2, it was x is equal to cos 2. Okay, now if we want to make it uppercase, all we have to do is x dot, now wait a minute, let me show you something. We write as it is a it says ignore the x is a string. Then what we did, x press dot. Now it gives me a list, a complete list, contains lots of functions in here. Every function has its own meaning like append, format, join, split, replace, try. I will show you the examples on few of them. Rest you try it out on your own. Work something out. If you find some kind of a problem in there, just put it in the comment section. We will reply you. We will definitely give you a reply and solve your problem. So let's try some of them. X dot upper, let's say. And as it is a function, there's one thing we have to remember. Always remember, if it is a okay, one thing. Let's make it a little bit obvious. Okay, now x is a upper is a function, and whenever we write a function, we use this open and close parenthesis with it. So now it becomes a function, and if we run this one, x dot upper F9, you can see the output cost. Now if we store it in a variable, x is equal to x dot upper F9. Now you see in the variable explorer, my value for x becomes uppercase. Now same thing if we want to do lowercase. Oh, what happened? If we want to do lowercase, x dot lower. Right now x is you can see an uppercase. But if we run this line, F9 x dot lower, and if we say x is equal to x dot lower F9, you see x become again a lowercase. Now there's one more thing. If we say x is equal to something like code warriors, okay, let's run it first. F9, okay, it ran x is equal to code warriors. Now variable also changed, x is equal to code warriors. Now let's apply one more method, split. Let's see what it does. Now if we run this F9, now you see it split these two words, code and warrior, and created one list. And you can see this is a format that we talked about above. Somewhere, see this format and this format, they look similar. They are there. So we can say this is a list. Now, if we at this time, let's store it in something. Uh, let's store it in z. Z is equal to x dot split f9. You see at z variable, it becomes a list. Code warriors. Now, for more confirmation, let's do this also. Print type z. Okay, and run it. Class list. It becomes a list. Now, if you notice how it splitted this two letters, two words, code and warriors, it uses the blank space between the code warriors. It's the white space over here, and it uses this white space to split this. But if you want to split in some other way, in some basis on some other letter or something, like if you want to split it on R, so just write R over here and run it. F9. Oh wait, sorry. We have to put it in single inverted commas or double inverted commas as it is a character, and now run it. F9. Now you see in the variable explorer, code W, then it's split it on R. As next R comes just after it. Okay, let me just print this set and show you correctly how this works. F9. Now see, it is separating it on R's. So in our word, it was CODE and space and WA. Then an R arrives, but it is separating on R, so it will not accept that R. Then again, one more R is there, so between it, there's a it is just giving it like in single inverted commas null section, and then again it is moving forward. Then there are two letters IO, then it is taking IOs, then there is again an R, again it is breaking the list, and then there's S. It is creating S. These are this is how split work. If you want to split it like big strings, the big sentences are there. We want to split it in some way. We want all those letters, all the words separately. Then we can use this method. It's a very effective method when we are working on the big string manipulations. Now, the third thing comes is index and slicing. Now, what is indexing and slicing? Let's see. If say again, okay, X is our code warriors. Let's run it. So we don't. Okay, X is defined over here as a code warrior, so that means we know the variable X is containing right now code warriors only, so we don't have to worry about it. Now, indexing and slicing works in three stages. It has things like three terms in there. Let me show you. Sorry. Start, stop, and step. Now, start means the start. Indexing and slicing basically means is a breaking of string uh, in the way you want. Like we have written a big word code warriors, but we want only a letter code, a word code, or we want only a word warriors, or maybe we want only rears. We don't want anything else. Then to divide the string, to break the string, and we have wrote a big sentence like this. This is Taj Mahal. Now we want only Taj Mahal out of that string. We don't want rest of it. So for that we use indexing and slicing methods. Indexing means so. Let's first talk indexing, then we'll come to slicing. Indexing means suppose if I write x and 0, x 0, and let's print it. Now run this F9 x0 C. Now all these letters, this CODEWARRIORS, all these letters contains their index. Indexing starts with 0, 1, 2, 3. Then space also comes under indexing. 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like first position is 0, the C that arrives at 0 position. O has first position, D has second position, E has third position, space has fourth position, and so on. Now it works in the backwards also. Like in the starting we work with the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it happens in the from the opposite direction. If we wanna write, if we write like this, -1. Now guess what? What's going to print? Yes, S. Now what is S in here? In our code warriors, last number. Now when we use negative letters, it starts from the back side. But you notice there is no -0 or something like that, because there is no minus. There's nothing like -0, so it has to start from -1 obviously. But when we start from the starting point, from the this side, the left side, then we use 0 as a first index. So this is sometimes this gets confusing. So remember it. If you are starting from the left side, 0 is the first index, then 1, then 2, then 3. If you're starting from the right side, then -1, -2, -3, and so on. Okay, so and if you want to know the length of this code warrior, that how many indexes are there, so all you have to do is write print, and there's this len function. Len is a short form of length, and see, as I have wrote length, it gives me the functions, len function, and len function. And if inside len, if we write x and execute this line of code, F9, now you see x is 13. Its length is 13. It has 13 indexes over there. Means this S, if we write like this, print x 13, then it starts from 0, so print x 12. Sorry, F9, it says S. Now length works from the from one number. It doesn't work from the 0. It's not an index. It's a size of it. It's the length of it. So length should always start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why its length is 13 and this is the last index 12 S. And this ID has one more very good thing. If you see, I have put my cursor over the warriors and it highlighted the warriors, and it helps us in matching our variables that if either we are not making some kind of mistake in our program or um, yeah, because most of the time, like I've wrote here warriors, maybe here I just do some type of mistake and write what I'm writing warriors like this, and then it keeps on thinking what I did in wrong. It keeps on whole time thinking what I did wrong, while everything looks right. But right now, if you see, my cursor is on this letter, and there is no word in this word, and there is no word like this in the whole program. That's why it is only highlighting this one. But as soon as we write R over here, and now if we wait on this cursor, now it is highlighting with this one because they both are same letters. If we put same thing in the costume, then you will see all costumes are highlighted right now from top to bottom. This is the one good thing in this ID. Now let's we talked about indexing, how we index it. We talk about its length. Now let's come on to slicing. Now slicing is, there are three terminologies in there: start, stop, and stem. Now start means the from the place from where we want to like in the code warriors. So let's say from where we want the string to start. Like we want to slice the string, so from where we have to start, like and from and in the stop section we say from where up to which point we want it. Like let's take an example, a basic example. We do cropping of images. So when we do crop, we drag that section, we drag that crop line and bring it up to the place from the part up to which you want to take, and rest of the part removes. The same way it works. Start is the starting point of the slice. Stop is the ending point of the slice, and step is the, you can say, after leaving how much gap you want to take the string. I will show you a step you will understand with our example only. Okay, let's say x is equal to right now x is the code warriors, you can see here. So let's start with 2 and up to 6. Now let's print this much, F9. Okay, yeah, oh sorry, we haven't assigned like this. It works this way. Okay, so now if we run this much, F9, now you see the value of x is what? DEW, DE space and W. How it works? It goes with a 2, index number 2. Index number 2 is what? 0, 1, 2. 2 is D. Then 3, 4, space 5, W. That's it. There's one thing you have to remember. Starting point, it starts from the index which you have given to it, but it stops at the index one before the index you have assigned. Like you have given it index 6, but it will take last index as 5. So stopping point is always one less than to the what you have assigned to it, and starting point is exactly what you have assigned to it. Now if we talk about stepping, so let's give it 12 and give it 2. Now let's print it. Oh wait, first we have to again assign x as code warriors. Now let's run it. F9. Now you see it says DARO. Now what happened here? First letter takes D. Now I have given it a step 2. So what it will do? It will jump one letter and we go up to the next letter. So next is a what? White blank space. So it took a blank space over here. Then it again skips W and reach to A. Then again skips this one R. Then takes this R. And then skips I and take O. Then skips R. And as our last point was 12, so it will not take S. So it gives me DARO. That's how slicing works. Now it doesn't matter, or you have to assign all these three things. You can write it like this. If I say x is equal to x, again 2 and this much only. Okay, first give it again the value x equal to code warriors F9. Now if we run it, F9, it will run just fine. And what it says, if you are not writing anything in this side of a semicolon, that means take it up to the last value. So what it did, it starts from the second index and took it up to the last index. So it completed complete D warriors. And we can write it like this too. We just put another semicolon over here for stepping and press 2. Now I have to run it again and again. F9 and come back here again F9. Now you see D arrows. It is taking up to the last value with a step size of 2, skipping one each at every position. Okay, so let's end this our video over here. This is all about indexing and slicing. It's all about string. Now I want you to work on this indexing and slicing. Try different methods, different ways. Remove the starting point, some point. Remove the stepping, remove the stop point. At some place, remove all those three. Work on it. Then work on its string concatenations, value assignments. Work on everything. If you find any problem in any place, just put it in the comment section. We will reply you as soon as we can. Okay, so and yes, I want to inform you something that in the description section we have given you a one link for the forms. Just if you are interested in this course, if you are liking this course, just fill out that form so that we can know you are interested in this. So if when in the end when you will complete the course, give that our exam of it, we will get to know about your interest and all, and accordingly we can provide you the certificate for it. So fill out that form. There is no cost. It is completely free. There is no cost of it. Just fill out that form so that we can know you. We can know you more. And one more thing, just as an attendance part, so that we can know that you are watching our every lecture, every video. Just write the summary of whatever we have studied today, whatever we have understand. Like we understand data types, practical of data types, variable assignments, working on strings, concatenations, string functions, then indexing and slicings. Whatever we have learned today, just put a summary of it in the comment section so that we can know, yeah, you have understood those things, you have watched our video, and that will also help. Only we will provide you only certificate only if you have watched all our videos, give the complete attendance of it, fill out the form, and qualified our exam, which will help in the end of the video, end of the whole course. Okay, let's see you in the next video. Good luck.